Thank you for staying with us. It is exactly 14 minutes past 9 a.m. and we want to move on to the next conversation today. On our Family Check segment, we are going to be talking about life after retirement. Looking at the retirement age in Kenya, it is officially 60 years old, but there is the option of retiring earlier. But how is life after retirement? How are you as an individual preparing for life post, your working years? That is an area of focus this morning because we have seen so many people wallow in poverty once they retire from actively working, and this is so due to being unprepared. So today we're going to be having that conversation, and to help bring this conversation best to us, we have with us Peter Rotich. He is the administrator working with Teleposta Pension Scheme. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, Kenya. Asante sana.
Thank you for being with us today. Karibu sana. Now, if you have any questions or comments, or you're just seeking clarification, we welcome you to talk with us via our social media platform. The hashtag on Twitter is @KBC Channel 1. Our official station handle is @KBC. Official hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Official station handle is @KBC Channel 1. My handle is @Jain Wambui. Now, before we get deeper into this conversation, let us start by just giving our viewers a brief understanding of what Teleposta Pension Scheme is all about, a bit of background.
Yeah, thank you, Jain. Teleposta Pension Scheme handles retirement benefits in respect of former employees of Kenya Post and Telecommunication Corporation. The purpose of this scheme is to ensure that persons who worked during their lifetime get monthly pensions.
Yes.
They also do get lump sum benefits. The beneficiaries are paid dependence pension upon the death of the main pensioner. That summarizes the role of Teleposta Pension Scheme to the former employees of Kenya Post and Telecommunication, as well as the employees of Telecom Kenya Limited, who had left service as at 1st of December 2007. That was immediately after the privatization of that organization.
Okay.
That summarizes the role of Teleposta Pension Scheme.
All right. Now, given Teleposta Pension Scheme has been in the pension industry for so long, and over the years you have seen the different trends that the country has gone through when it comes to retirement, why is it still that we are having so many Kenyans not saving up for retirement, from what you have seen?
Jain, I've been in the pension industry for close to 32 years.
Yes.
And the critical aspect is, when do we start saving for retirement? You finish school, you start working, some start working at 20. Would I call that person financially literate? No.
Not quite.
Even at 25, I would say that person is only 7 years into adulthood. Is that person also financially literate? I'll say not much. So what we require is to ensure upon employment, we need a concerted effort to make sure young people realize that they will retire. And having realized that you will retire, that is the best time to start saving for your retirement. It's not about getting to know that you will retire at 45 or 50. You should start at 20. And how do you start? Spend less, save wisely. And how does it come about? By ensuring most employers set up retirement funds for their employees. How does that happen? In Kenya, we have almost 4 pillars. We have the compulsory National Social Security Fund, which in 2014, you and myself know we were supposed to increase our contributions towards NSSF, but there has been some court matter that has made us continue pumping in 400 shillings. That's not enough. We do have the individual personal pension plans. The individual personal pensions plan are mostly in respect of employers who do not set up occupational pension schemes. So Teleposta Pension Scheme is an occupational pension fund. And the last one we do have is the government pension scheme. We are lucky civil servants started contributing towards the pension scheme in 2019. So we have those 4 pillars in the country. Out of all those 4 pillars, how many persons contribute towards pension schemes? Only 3 million. 3 million Kenyans.
And that's a point of interest, considering that figure are 3 million Kenyans that are contributing towards pension schemes. Do we have even enough entities that offer these pension plans for those that may be wanting them?
We do have.
Yes.
We do have enough entities. Remember, how many people are in employment? 3 million formal. And then in the informal sector, you are aware in 2004, the informal sector actually, the informal sector grew faster than the formal sector. How many persons do we have in the informal sector? Close to 15 million people. We need to harness that. Most entrepreneurs in the informal sector are not covered under retirement schemes. So we need to have an honest conversation as a country, as practitioners in the industry, to ensure that we reach out to the 15.7 million persons who are not contributing towards their retirement. I mean, most of these people, I would call them entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Some people call them hustlers. We need to harness them to ensure there is massive education. And I would want also the media to play an active role. Curriculum development in school, so that as a person starts working, as a person sets up their kiosk, a tattoo business, a hair salon, how much are you putting aside for your retirement? Because you will not be active forever. So that is the conversation we need to have as a country. Are we reaching out to the 15.7 million people in the informal sector to ensure that they save for their retirement? The other thing also important, save for their medical. Why? We don't want to put a lot of burden. We don't want to put a lot of burden in our government. Too much pressure for them to provide for social security. So we need to educate Kenyans and tell them it is imperative, start saving when you are young.
Now, looking at that aspect of starting to save when you are young, as you've mentioned, as early as 20, you can start saving.
Absolutely.
Because looking at 20, by the time you get to 60 or 65, on the higher end 70, you have at least 40, 45 years there to work and save. But then again, how do you get started? Because I think most people have a perception that I need to start with a set figure in order to save for my retirement. How can one get started? At the age of 20, fresh out of campus, you've gotten your first internship gig.
Thank you. We have to fall on to what is the replacement ratio? What is the ideal amount that you require when you retire? Assume you are earning 10,000 Kenya shillings. Put aside, out of that 10,000, put aside close to 20 to 30% of the 10,000 of your salary. If your employer, and I do believe as an occupational pension scheme, your employer is doing 10% of your salary, and you are doing 10%, you are actually at 20%. To get that adequate replacement ratio to move to 30%, I would request that as an employee, put an additional 10%. If your employer does not have an occupational pension scheme, you can save through an individual personal pension plan. Put aside 30%. If you put aside that 30%,
30% in this economy.
I'll come to that, Jain.
Yes.
If you put aside 30%, if you are contributing towards a retirement plan that pays you a lump sum, remember, we were taught in our elementary school the power of compounding interest. Absolutely, yes. Compound interest. Very, very important. That amount will form a basket that will enable you to live an adequate retirement plan. You have asked, is that adequate in this economic?
Because that is a reservation that most people would have. Yes, I want to save for the future, but my current needs are more important than the future that I'm not certain of.
What are the
that perception?
What are the current needs? Kenyans will always say, I have needs for rent, I have for food, household, transport, clothing, entertainment. Alafu kuna ile ya kanisa. Many people actually religiously contribute to church.
Yes.
Rarely do we put aside for retirement. So you'll find retirement is the last item. But I would advise Kenyans, it should actually be the first one. Pay yourself that saving. And then rent will come, food will come, education. If you have a nice plan, definitely, once you remove that 30%, remember, most employers do actually have a pension plan.
Pension plan, yeah.
Over and above that, once you do that, plan for your food, for your household, transport, your kanisa, chama, and then and let entertainment be the last one.
Yes.
Of course, we have to entertain ourselves. Young people, we know, they have to entertain themselves. If you are in your 20s, they'll buy this nice TV set. They'll buy an iPhone, worth 100,000. They'll buy a speaker, a Harman Kardon speaker. I would advise these young people, please put that aside first. Save for your old age. That nice living will come during your retirement. But I'm not saying don't live well. Put aside something for entertainment, but don't let it be a substantial amount of your earnings.
All right. Now, given Teleposta has been in the pension industry for so long, and you are the administrator there, what are some of the challenges that you are facing as one of the stakeholders in the pension industry?
Yeah, there are many challenges. Let me give one example of the challenges that we faced in 2020. For example, when COVID came in, the investment returns were affected because of the market volatility at the capital markets. Most employers, just like Teleposta pension scheme, we invest. Some pension schemes invest in property. When COVID came, you remember many tenants could not afford to pay. So for commercial buildings, giving an example, we had to structure some leases to ensure that our tenants were comfortable, structure a few leases to ensure that you are able to negotiate with your tenants on how much are they willing to pay. That, we faced it. Other challenges in the pension industry, record keeping of members. Jain will be hired at 20, and she puts as a potential beneficiary the mom. Along the way, Jain puts a spouse. Over some years, she quarrels with the spouse. She comes and removes the spouse. She puts the brother. So you find there is a need for constant review and updating of those records so that the administrators in the pension schemes are able to pay out benefits as and when the need arises. When you retire, when you die, your potential beneficiaries do not suffer.
Yes.
Yeah, so that it becomes very fast. The process becomes very fast in processing the benefits. Thank you.
All right. And also, let's now flip the coin, looking at pensioners. From what you have observed over the years, there are those aspects that most pensioners consider to be important, and there are those that, come secondary. But let's start with the challenges that you have also seen pensioners experiencing, and even those that haven't taken up pension schemes late in life.
Most pensioners will talk about low earnings in retirement. And why? They'll actually complain that the investment rates of return are quite low and the pension has been eaten up by inflation. Health costs. In retirement, the most important item that comes to a pensioner is the need to have a nice medical cover. So you find the cost of that medication is quite high. Some challenges also which comes in, lifetime decisions. You can't fault a person has reached retirement, gets a lump sum, and instead of using that lump sum to enjoy a nice retirement, what do? One of the challenges you'll find, Peter retires at 60, 65, or 70, or 50, he decides to marry. Now you have these young kids, 5 of them, and what do? You take these kids now to your other children who are already adults and tell them, take them. That amount of money that you are earning as a pension is not enough to sustain the retiree. And those are some of the challenges we encounter with these pensioners. And we tell them, when you are in retirement, structure your life in such a manner that you are able to live comfortably without starting a project. You get a lump sum of 1 million, 10 million, you start a project, and before the foundation is over, you want to put up a shop, all the money is gone. Some retirees or some pensioners who actually reach retirement, they decide, let me go into the matatu industry. And there'll be this person who tells you, we will actually guide you into it. They sell you a ramshackle. In the process, you find all the lump sum is gone. So those are the challenges. And how do you ensure you prevent that? constant education, employee education, member education. I would urge employees during member education, please be present. They are administrators, they are fund managers, they are custodians. Investment advisors will come and advise you on how to ensure you live well during retirement.
All right. And what about those who also, once they get this retirement funds in lump sum, they use it to settle some of their debts?
It's allowed. It's allowed. As you go towards retirement, you'll find there's a certain lump sum. I would advise members, don't take the whole lump sum. Take a third or 2/3. The other amount, earn it as a periodic payment for the rest of your life. Better get little on a monthly basis than taking the lump sum and putting it into one project and it collapses. So the most important aspect is, yes, you will have needs as you retire. Maybe you had put up a house, it was not complete. There are some educational needs for your children, but take a certain percentage. Listen to an advisor. There are various pension providers in the market, in the industry, who will come to you and tell you, look here, set aside an amount, and this amount, which you'll be taking as a monthly pension, goes towards meeting your daily needs. Remember, your needs are not much at that time. Maybe paying electricity, water bills, and a cover for your medical. We have a vibrant medical system in our country, up to including NHIF. So look at who is offering you the best medical service in the industry. Get an advisor. So from that monthly pension that you're getting, put aside for your medical and ensure there's enough that will cater for the project you wanted to complete. Maybe school fees for your child or a small business, but don't put everything into business. You will do that day.
Okay. Do we have cases of individuals or other pensioners who outlive the plans that they have taken?
Thank you.
And if so, how are they addressed?
One of the challenges that we are facing as a country is life expectancy. Improvement in medical facilities has made, you're supposed to get your pension, you get a lump sum, and then get your pension, monthly pension, for the rest of your life. Now, some people outlive, but you see,
the expected life.
The expected life. Maybe we're supposed to live to 70 or 80. You find someone living to 100. Our oldest pensioner 2 years ago was born in 1918. He has since rested. So our current oldest pensioner was born in 1921. This pensioner retired in 1974. Has been earning a pension from 1974. So would I say he has outlived? In the program, when you arrange a pension plan, there are those who will die early. There are those who live longer because they are getting it from a pool. So for those who die early, it compensates for those who live longer. And for our pension scheme, upon your death, then the pension is payable to your beneficiary, that is the spouse, for the next 5 years. So you live until 100. If your spouse, God willing, is still alive, we'll take it for 5 years. If your spouse has died, you have died, then it is payable to eligible beneficiaries who are below the age of 21.
All right. Now, we welcome you to share with us your questions in regards to this particular discussion. It is important, as young as 20 years, as young as 40, you need to start saving for your retirement. And the earlier you do it, the better, as we have heard from Rotich. So questions, comments, clarification, use the hashtag #GoodMorningKenya on Twitter, and of course our official station handle at KBC Channel 1. Now, in this particular case where the beneficiaries are the ones who, once the main contributor rests, the funds continue to be disbursed to the immediate beneficiary for 5 years. There's also, we've seen cases where family members now also become the problem in such situations where there's the father maybe or the mother is old, they know they're earning a certain amount of money. How do you also protect the retirees in this particular case from fraudsters and those that might be trying to con them?
Thank you. We do encourage members, employees, and wherever you are, when you are employed, you are given a form to indicate who your potential beneficiaries are. So you're a young person, 23, you're not married. So you indicate my immediate beneficiary shall be my mom or my brother or my father. The moment you marry, you should immediately update that form and bring your spouse. We are together.
Yes.
The moment you get children, update, take to the trustees additional beneficiaries so that the list is updated. Remember, pension benefits do not form part of the estate of a beneficiary. So the trustees have a discretion on whom to pay. So what do the trustees...
And what percentages to go to the individuals?
Percentage? Because in the form, the list of beneficiaries, there's a percentage that you indicate. But remember, that percentage is not binding on the trustees. The trustees can decide what percentage to pay to the beneficiaries. So what I would urge members of pension schemes is always update the list of beneficiaries. Very important. You might enjoy your work and you forget to update the list of beneficiaries. You are married, you get 7 children, unfortunately you rest. The trustees open the list of beneficiaries, they find it was indicated not applicable, none. Yet, records from the employer, because the trustees work hand in hand with the employer. Records from the employer side shows Peter was actually married, had 7 children, but in the list of beneficiaries which the trustees have to rely on, it is indicated not applicable because you wrote that list at the time of employment. Yet at 40, Peter rests, he had married, has 7 children, and maybe 3 wives. So you find, I go to your question now, Peter has rested, the spouses come and fight. So we encounter that. Peter married, left the spouse in the village, came to Nairobi,
married again.
Married. All his colleagues in his workplace know of the lady in the urban area. The community and some friends know Peter has another spouse in the village. Now, when the trustees want to disburse the benefits, they only find the lady in the urban area is in the list. Is it right for trustees to pay the lady in the urban area? No. Sit down as trustees, divide the benefits, because that lady in the village who requires even these funds, because the lady in, I'm sorry to have to use that term, the lady in the urban area might be having a job, the lady in the village might not be having a job and has kids. So the trustees have to sit and prudently divide this amount. There's another challenge, Madam Jain.
Yes.
Employees who are constantly transferred. There are certain professions where you find an employee has been transferred from Kisumu, stays there for 5 years, leaves a spouse there. The employee is transferred to Mombasa, gets a spouse there. The employee is transferred to Garissa. By the time the person reaches retirement, there are records at the employer's files. He has not updated it. By the time he's retiring in 8 stations, he has close to 6 spouses. Peter has 6 spouses. I'm not saying I have. But it's good
hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically.
Yes.
Now the trustees face a challenge. Who is to be paid the benefits? Yet the person was not updating the
records.
So the scheme rules has to be very, very specific on who is to be paid. So trustees have to be very, very keen, seek legal advice, professional advice on how to ensure the scheme rules caters for the beneficiaries who have been left behind. So that's one big challenge you mentioned about. And in the process family issues. In the process, this pension is supposed to benefit the family immediately upon demise. So you find the biggest challenge now, trustees take long to make a determination on who the benefits are payable to.
All right. Now, as we draw closer to the end of this conversation, there is the general meeting that will be happening tomorrow, I believe. Teleposta Pension Scheme AGM. Tell us a bit about that and what our viewers can expect.
Thank you. Regulation 2 of the retirement benefits rules provides that trustees must hold an annual general meeting. The purpose of the annual general meeting is to enable trustees disseminate the activities of a scheme to the members. So the trustees will be informing the members about the activities of the scheme over the last 1 year. it also enables members to raise any issues regarding the affairs of the scheme. So this is a forum for members now to come out, raise questions, interact with the trustees. We'll be doing it virtually in terms of adopting technology. Yes. We started using that last year because of the challenges of COVID.
The pandemic.
Jain, in 2020, we postponed our annual general meeting. Last year, we thought it wise, let us use technology, and that is why we are using KBC to reach out to our members. The trustees will present to them the financial statements for the year 2021, the fund manager's report, the custodian's report, the administrator's report, and there will be a wellness talk. There will also be a topic on how to ensure your beneficiaries know how to claim the benefits. So members, from the comfort of your home, tomorrow, sit and watch as the trustees disseminate information regarding the scheme. It starts at 9:30 in the morning.
Yes.
We have a toll-free line. Kindly be free to ring us using that toll-free line. Ask any questions. We did also write to you on the 9th of May about this annual general meeting. We did request to you members to raise any questions that you might want to be addressed tomorrow. So welcome our pensioners to tomorrow's annual general meeting to be broadcast live.
All right. So I think that is that in regards to this discussion. Again, all about saving for retirement. You need to prepare before you get to retirement so that we can do away with this culture of, living in poverty and yet you worked for so many years, but failure to plan, of course, leads to such. We have been speaking with Peter Rotich, who is the administrator at Teleposta Pension Scheme. Of course, giving us more information about the event that will be happening tomorrow, the annual general meeting that will be running from 9:30 up until noon, so you can tune in to get to understand more of what goes into pension, the pension industry here in Kenya. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning, Kenya.
All right. Thank you once again for being with us. That brings us to a close of today's program. We do this again tomorrow morning. My name is Jain. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.